Nelson, on the regulation of podcasts. There is another school of thought, Honorable, that tends to think or believe that this particular law was crafted by the PF and the UPND is only implementing it. This is an act that was left by the PF.
First and foremost, PF today is not in government because of those gaps. And this is why I have a problem in terms of UPND trying the benchmark for assessing its performance is PF. For me, I hold UPND accountable in terms of their performance on three measures, okay? Three parameters.
Okay.
One, it is the promises which they made to the Zambians. And two is the mechanism they put in place to actualize these promises. They have in place the 8th National Development Plan, which subscribes, which highlights 4 pillars. The first pillar is economic transformation and job creation. The next pillar is social and human development. The next pillar is environmental sustainability. And the third pillar is actually rule of law and good governance. And the third measure for me to assess the performance of UPND is the tenure of office.
Okay.
So for me to say these laws were put in place by PF, for example, let me give an example. President HH said the Cyber Security and Cyber Criminal Act law is porous, is stifling, is muzzling the rights of Zambians to express themselves. He said the first thing he would do is to amend that law. Okay? The other law which you say by now should have been done was the Public Order Act. They said the moment they come into government, they'll repeal and replace, which is the Public Gathering Bill. Okay? They'll have done that by now. But now, instead of improving, they are further exacerbating the situation, because this proposal to amend the IBA Act does not provide for the thriving of democracy. In fact, it is in a hindrance to do so. So for me, UPND must do better. They must apply themselves. Pillar number 4, they'll say they'll thrive the democracy to ensure that they apply themselves to uphold rule of law. But I have highlighted instances on the 3 arms of government on many fronts where they have failed. So for me, they must measure themselves vis-a-vis the promises they've made, how they've applied themselves to implement this development plan within the 8 years. So for me, to say UPND, PF brought these laws, yes, and they were voted out because of that. So they need to make amends. They need to do better, because whatever they need to do, if PF failed, then they need to do that which will thrive the interest of the people. Basically, that's that.
Okay.
You did mention of the 8th National Development Plan, and mentioned about the pillar on economic transformation as well as job creation. Now, one of the thorn issue that one might relate to is the fact that the cost of living is relatively high. If we look at the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, they were giving us a perception that for a family of 5 in Lusaka to survive now, you need about 10,000.
10,307.
Yes, for a family of 5 to survive. And we've seen the country's inflation also increase from 13.2% to 13.5% in the month of February, right? And we've also seen, on top of this issue, issues relating to fuel pump price. How best do we need to come up with a solution, aside from what has been laid on the table, such as going the irrigation way, to ensure that cost of living reduces, talking about issues of minimum, as well as having prices that are cost reflective on when we talk of issues related to fuel?
Like you rightly said, is that right now, Zambians are barely making it. Okay, and if you look at the SI 43 or 48, if I'm not mistaken, which talks about the minimum wage for general workers and domestic workers, it's about 1,300. For drivers, it's about 2,000 plus. And you've already did hint that actually the food basket is about 10,000 plus. Already, that is indicative of the challenges which Zambians are facing, Zambians are barely making it. So now I think let's put things in perspective. Okay, so when UPND came into government, because most of the problem which Zambians are facing has to do with bread and butter, okay, with food. Let me give an example. Right now we have a drought, okay, and that has got an impact on the lives of people. Now, one, let's look at this way. We know about this El Nino, that El Nino is coming, okay, because leadership must pronounce themselves or craft policies in view of every